Good morning, brothers and sisters.
Morning.
Today I'd like to talk about. My topic today is finding God, highest purpose and value. And last Sunday, Pastor Sanders talked about the paradigm shift of our church. It is very hopeful for me. It's now the focus is going toward the youth, young people, raising up young people, and that's very hopeful for me. And according to Pew Research Center survey in 2019, a majority of teens, 61%, say it is not necessary to believe in God to be moral and have good value, while 38% say it is necessary to believe in God to be moral. So teens less likely than parents to say religion is important in their lives. So, big question, are God and church necessary for young people? And let's see what Bible says. Bible gives the answer. It says, remember your Creator in the days of youth, before the days of trouble come. So, I think answer is yes. Maybe not young people think that way. You know, most of first generations found God and joined church at late teens or early 20s. So first generation member, we are hungry, we are thirsty of spiritual food, spiritual drink. And we found God by grace of God, ancestors, and spiritual world. Like prodigal son in Jesus' parable. So this is prodigal son story is one of my favorite stories in Bible. So let's read the part of the story. So prodigal son hit rock bottom and turned to his father. So this is parable of prodigal son. When prodigal son, came to his senses, he said, how many of my father's hired hands have more than enough food, but I'm starving to death? I will get up and go to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son. Take me on as one of your hired hands. Then the elder son was furious and didn't want to enter in, but his father came out and begged him. He answered his father, Look, I've served you all these years, and I never disobeyed your instruction. Yet, you've never given me as much as a young goat, so I could celebrate with my friends. Then his father said, Son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. So first generations received a lot of love from God and church at joining church. Like a prodigal son came back to his father. I remember when I joined church, whenever I go to Sunday service, I received the grace. I received the inspiration, regardless of the sermon or regardless of the program or food. I received the grace. I received the spiritual inspiration. So when I see second generations who cannot see what first generations saw in our church, which is God's love and hope, I feel very sorry. I'm wondering if they are like the older son in the parable of prodigal son. And I'm wondering if we fail to create the environment for them to feel God's love. And we fail to make them feel everything we have is yours. So paradigm shift, Pastor Sanders presenting last Sunday is very hopeful. Now we can take care of second generation. Of course, this paradigm shift is first mainly focused on those second generation who fit in this church, in the front line. But hopefully, this paradigm shift will give the grace to those second generation who don't feel fit in this church eventually. So what kind of images do second generations have toward God and church if they have negative images? So this is my guess by looking at my children. It's old-fashioned, controlling, authoritarian, narrow-minded, not fun, not practical, not reasonable, does not make sense. So, first thing we need to do to find God is to recognize what we have, what God gave us, what is God is giving us. So living in America is blessing because America is a country with God. So I'd like to talk 4 points about what God is giving us. So first thing, freedom and human rights. So let's compare human freedom and human rights from God versus from governments or rulers. So freedom and human rights given by governments or rulers can be taken away by governments or rulers. Which countries violate freedom and human rights of their citizens more? I'm sorry to say the country name, but think about the China. The freedom and human rights in that country is given by Chinese Communist government. So if the human rights and freedom is not aligned with their government policy, it's easily those human rights and freedom is taken away by government. So So only God can take away freedom and human rights given by God. But God never take away freedom from his children. Even though the freedom gave God tremendous pain, headache, and suffering, God never take away the freedom. Is giving freedom easy thing?
No.
Giving freedom is not easy thing. Some people say having pets is much better than having kids because pets does not have freedom to go against the owner's wishes and give heartache. So why did God give freedom to Adam and Eve, even though he knew they might go against his wish and give headache? What is the best customer service? The best customer service is the servers knew what customer want. Even though customer doesn't ask, the server feel what customer want. And if you get the service, even though you don't say it, then you feel robbed. And God wanted have such relationship, love relationship with human being. So freedom is really gift and love from God. Number 2, assertive lifestyle. So we recently ran Noah's Life at Sunday school. And so Noah's Life is an example of assertive lifestyle. So despite being scorned and ridiculed by everyone else, Noah devoted 120 years to build the ark. So Noah knew clearly what he should do because of his faith in God. He had confidence in what he was doing, building ark. So being assertive is being clear about what you need to do. So what is needed to build good individual character and family? What made possible for complete strangers from different nationalities to marry and build families? Facing God and two parents, an ideal of world peace made possible. Those faiths made possible for complete strangers from different countries, different races, to marry and build a family. So having faith in God is very important to build your character, build an ideal family, strong family. Number 3, place to return. So the prodigal son found a place to return when he hit rock bottom. God has place to return for us. All people common destination, regardless of believe in God or not. This is to Father's word. Death is the return to the world of origin. In Korea, we commonly use an interesting idiom in reference to death. When someone dies, we say individual has returned. To die in Korean, it says 돌아가셨다, 돌아가다. That literal mean is return, going back. So where does that person return to? Is it not to cemetery? We mean that we return to the point of life's origin, which is God. So everybody is eventually going back to God after ending physical life. And God has place for everybody. If we realize we have the place to return. Number 4, hope. So the title of my sermon today, Finding God, is similar to the title of Disney's movie. You know, Finding Nemo, maybe everybody knows it's a famous movie. So Nemo was rebellious to his father just before he was taken away by scuba diver. And of course, he looked for his father. But the father looked for Nemo more desperately in the entire ocean. And God, the two parents taught, is not God sitting in throne, just sitting in throne and resting. That's not God two parents taught us. The God two parents taught is desperately looking for his children without rest. So this world is still filled with suffering and sadness. We see many sad news every day. But we have hope because we have God. We have God who waits for everyone to return. Because we have such God, we have hope, even though we see many sadness and suffering in this world. Because of God, we have hope. So, actions to find God. So number 1, recognize what benefit we enjoy from society with God. That's the first thing we should do. Even though we don't feel God, we can do what we recognize, what we have, what we are enjoying. Especially this country is blessed by God, and this country is with God. So we can easily think about that. And number 2, try to do something for God. The example, attend Sunday service with heart to serve God. And make donation with appreciation. Think about the income you are getting. It's the gift from God. Think about. And return something with appreciation. Such heart. Make donation with such heart. Then you can surely get some benefit. Its Sunday service is not fun necessarily. It's you may feel it's boring coming to the church and sitting in chair. It's boring than playing game at home. But think about this time, investing your time for God. And also think about this time, investing your time for your spiritual growth. In order to become the professional musician or professional the sports player, they practice every day, invest their time. And practice is not fun thing. Doing same thing, like baseball player, swing the bat every day, many times. And the piano player playing piano every day. And it's not fun thing. Practicing is not fun. But if you practice with the heart motivation to grow yourself for your growth, then you will receive the benefit. So doing spiritual thing with the heart to serve God and for your spiritual growth, then you will eventually get some benefit, and eventually you will find God. And remember, God is looking for each one of us, and God is waiting each one of us. God will wait until everybody in this world to come back, return. God will wait. Thank you so much. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Parent, thank you for this day. Heavenly Parent, you are looking for each one of us, even though we are giving you headache, heartache, suffering, you still waiting for us. You gave us freedom as your gift and love. And you never taken away our freedom, even though we misuse our freedom and doing bad things to make you suffer, giving you heartache. Still you patiently wait for us to realize Heavenly Father's love, your love. So Heavenly Parent, it is not easy to find God, especially in this fallen world. This fallen world is pulling us to opposite direction, and we are receiving so many temptations in this society. But Heavenly Parent, you are patiently waiting for us. And Heavenly Parent, we are very hopeful. Our church is now focusing on youth, second generation. The youth, they need Heavenly Parent the most, because they have a long life ahead of them. And they will go through many difficulties, many troubles, but faith in God will navigate them to reach destination, reach the place Heavenly Parent prepare for each one of us. So Heavenly Parent, please guide us, especially guide all youth, young people. They are the hope for our movement, hope for Heavenly Parent and true parents. We hope this paradigm shift will bring all youth, all second generation back to Heavenly Parent, back to true parents, and make them fulfill their destiny, fulfill their talent, their what they have, and fulfill Heavenly Parents' expectation for each one of us, and become your sons and daughters, your filial sons and daughters. Thank you, Heavenly Parent. I'd like to report everything in the name of West Central families gathered here. Aju.
Aju.
Thank you.